Greetings and welcome to SmartWatchTix.com. You guys have been asking for this one for quite a while. Look at how big that puppy is. We are looking at the APP LL6 from Lockmat. It's a 1.6-inch TFT screen, 400 by 400 resolution, and that's it in there. But look at the body it comes in. A couple other things I want to point out are the 830 milliamp hour battery in here, a 22 millimeter strap. However, you're going to see in a moment that that strap is not removable. This is the 2 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte version. I decided to call one in that's the lower model as opposed to the top of the line, so we can check to see how sluggish it is when it scrolls and things like that. Where can you get it? Banggood! Hey, Banggood, thank you so much for sending this out. It took us a long time to get it. You guys have been asking for it for months. Here it is. This is the configuration for this price, and check the show notes in case I got a coupon for you, although it says it's right now the lowest price in a long time. If it's gone up when you're watching this, again, we'll hopefully have a coupon for you either in the show notes, or there's a link there to our special coupon page where all of the watches I've reviewed, if they ever go on sale, have a special coupon for you. So make sure you check on that, no matter what watch you're looking for. Okay, the APP LLP6 in the configuration of 464, and look, you can get it in either a black or green. Now here it is blown up in the green, and yes folks, it does have that rotating camera head on it. Alright, let's dive into the total spec sheet, and they're kind of tiny on this one. The link to this exact spec sheet is a part of that buying link, so head on over and just click on it if you want to amplify this up a bit. We're going to cover most of it when we actually get into the review, but it is a 4G watch, meaning it'll use the 4G network. None of them are on 5G yet. By the way, your old 2G and 3G watches aren't going to be working as they're getting rid of all of that. I'm off the screen, but here's all of the different things that are supported, and we will see those things as well. And there you go, the size and weight and whatnot. Let's dive into it. A lot of things I want to tell you about this one. This is Android 9. But as we've seen in several different watches, Android 9 is not the same across the board. And this is probably the most unusual deviant from Android anything that I've ever seen. I mean that. Wait till you see what it does and doesn't do. It comes, as they all do, in this fancy double box kind of configuration. It's squeezed into a lower box. We'll get into that. And then you can take off the connector there. You've got the band itself. It's definitely a sports band. You got two prongs on it. It's ruggedized to the max. You've got, look at this. Now, it's 22 millimeter. I don't think so. That really looks huge. And there's no way you're going to take the band off. So it is a fixed band, super thick, super ruggedized watch. You got a cover on here. And there's the overall screen with a screen protector on it, if you can see the reflection of it in there. Camera, it's identifying everything for you. You've got on-off here, and you've got back there, and they do mean it. This is what you have to use to go back. Oftentimes we would swipe to get back, and it doesn't work. You have to use the back button. How smart is that, huh? Okay, guys, definition time. What is a typal sensor? T-A-I-P-L-E, typal sensor. That's what it looks like. I really don't know. Barometric pressure? Temperature? Does it smell the air? That's something new. It's got these things that are the buttons and not on this side. You've got the charging connector here. We'll get that out in a moment. Take that off, put your SIM card in there. There's the sensors, and that's it. I don't see microphone or speaker or any of that on here, unless that's built into here as well, and on that side too, one on either side. Let's dive deeper. Inside the box, we've got a few more goodies. There's a manual. there's the charging wire. When you pop this out, you can see that it will not connect that way, but connects good and solid this way. You can dangle that without any problem whatsoever. And it's got that recessed look and feel to it, so these are not actually touching your skin, and so you don't get as much corrosion on here over time, which is very welcome. You've got a bag, and here is a screwdriver and some extra screws. You can see them in there. I'm not going to pull it out. We've seen that before. It's a tiny little screwdriver that will work for that screw there, which is what you need to undo this to get your SIM card in. And finally, a whole user's manual on this particular unit, the APP LLP6. We paged through this, and it should be English at the beginning. The single camera doubles as a dual camera in that you can shoot forward or you can rotate it to do selfies. Okay, here's more information. We freeze frame or offer this up for you to freeze frame if you want to read it in more detail. And wow, we've already switched to another language, so you can practice your translation into several languages just from the manual itself. Well, as usual, we got to charge up this heavy-duty battery in here and run it through its paces. Be sure to watch this part. If you're used to these Android watches, you're going to see some surprises. Well, following the directions, we'll hit the on-off key, press and hold it for a moment. Oh, quickly vibrates, comes into the opening logo on the screen, and should boot up fairly quickly. While it's doing that, I want to walk you through, show you the camera. You can, like I said, flip that up, and it'll face toward you. In the app itself, you can reverse it so it's not upside down to take selfie videos, pictures, to do video calling, whatever you like. And you can flip it down, and you've got the camera now to shoot out to the side. It's a long boot up process. The first time you do it, after it's had a factory restore, it really takes long because it has to unpack everything. Even afterwards, as you can see, it takes quite a while. That was a startup sound in there. I actually have the startup sound turned off, I'm pretty sure. So the first glitch or thing that's different is that it's not totally silent. Even when you have it set to be silent, you might hear just a little squeak of sound coming out of it, and that could roust somebody if you're trying to like turn your watch on in bed or whatever and not wake your partner. Here we are in our first opening watch face. Wow, there is just so much different about this watch. When I scroll up, I get to this page. That's familiar, power. You can barely see, but that's your SIM card and Bluetooth tethering connections there, date and time. Come over here, we've got do not disturb. We had that on. Didn't help keep the sound off. We'll turn it off. That's cellular data right there. That's a little airplane for going into airplane mode. I've got both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on. GPS with both GPS and Beidou. I get them all mixed up. That's a Chinese one for your location services. And then you've got your brightness, and that's the first level, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and it gets really, really bright, fully on. So this is an easy one to see outside, which is a good thing considering how rugged it is. It really looks like it's made for outdoor use. There's the lowest level. I'm going to shoot the video at 2, maybe 3. We'll see how it goes. That's it. You only have those 2. You notice you don't have any settings to go into Android mode or sports mode or low power mode or any of that. Just those 2 panels right there. This is familiar. Swipe to the right. You get notifications sent to your phone or from your phone to your watch when you're tethered to your watch. Bing! Mark that in your memory bank for a minute. When you're tethered to your watch, we want to look at that. Here we go up. Normally now you have a few pages with weather and all kinds of things. This has got your step count, distance traveled, your average steps per day, your total steps, and so forth. So you got a nice accumulation there. But folks, that's it. We have nothing else left or right. So we really don't have a whole lot. When we go to the left, we get the app drawer. We'll look at that. And we come over here, and you've got your workout stuff. Whoops, I touched something by accident. Now, these all look familiar, with the exception that it's an older version that doesn't support GPS integration with the watch. At least I don't think so. We'll take a look at that. The setting is in the Fitness app, not here. This is one where you would just open it and launch them. But to do the setup, you have to be in the Fitness app. And it's the basics. Rope skipping to outdoor running hasn't changed for years. All right, let's walk through it. No Bluetooth calling, as usual, with any of these Android watches, but you do, if you have a SIM card, have phone, contacts, and messaging all tied to that SIM. We have settings, going to come back to that, and to the camera in a minute. We've got a basic calendar. This is nothing fancy, not the Google Calendar, just a simple calendar with the date on it. You've got your clock, which is for setting alarms, and you've got a sound recorder, which is something that you can... Actually, you could test the speaker on this thing and the microphone capability by making a little recording, since I'm not going to actually put a SIM card in it and try to set it up for calls, but we do want to just check out how loud it is. And I can stop it, and I guess it auto-saved it. Here's settings, by the way, in this app. You can set the format, high-quality MP3, and auto-save. That's new, so this is a little bit fancier one than we're used to. Over here is the actual app, or the actual recording, and we can play it back. Actually, you can test the speaker on this thing and the microphone capability by making a little recording, since I'm not going to actually put a SIM card in it and try to set it up for calls, but we do want to just check out how loud it is, and I can stop. I think the sound's coming somewhere around here, best I can tell. Not very loud, not the loudest in the world, and I think the volume's cranked all the way up. So, as usual, we have a little bit of deficiency in the sound arena in Android. Here's your File Explorer, where you can see that we've got a total of 16 gig, and everything is being taken up by the operating system, leaving you about 5 2/3. Let's call it 6, because I've installed a couple of extra third-party apps. So 10 gigs is being used up of your available space. But like I said, if you don't plan on doing movies and just a little bit of music, maybe this may be all you need, and save a little bit of extra money on it. You can see the scrolling isn't terribly bad. That's what the RAM would be affecting. When we used to have the Android 1 and 2 gigabyte watches, that was, really on the edge. 2 is about as low as you can go. All right, I'm digressing. We had gotten all the way down to File Explorer. Here's desktop settings. You can do your dial selection, menu style, which is what you're looking at. You all know that. It can be linear or curved or a circle with a clock in it, all that. And switching styles is a different look and feel when you swipe through. They're all the same, that part, on all these Android watches. However, dial selection, let's tap there. That's the same as if I press and hold on the watch face from the watch face screen. And here's a huge disappointment, guys. The only faces you've got are the stock faces. There's no support for the clock skin folder and third-party watch faces. There's no plus sign at the very end that lets you install additional faces from a server somewhere. You just have the ones you see here. So I'm going to take time to show them to you, since A, there aren't that many, and B, it's all you got. You got some nice digital ones, though, and there is a little Easter egg in here. When we get to some of these that have little icons on them, you actually can touch them and go into the music player, for example, or into the phone calling with your call history and stuff. You've got your heart rate that you can go into, and it just fired up the diode for that. So there are touch capable faces, a few of them. That's the first one. Here's an interesting one we've seen quite a while in different watches, variations of it. It does have a nice edge-to-edge feel, very little border around it. This one, again, touchable for heart rate, music, phone, step count, and nothing. Oh yeah, okay, setting your alarms. And of course, in the middle, what's that going to do? Let me get my Cameo on here. That launches. Ta-da! The camera. There we go. We'll come back and look more at that in a moment. And we have another watch face. That's this kind. I don't know why, but that's become the rave in China, this little astronaut twirling in space. Seems like he kind of lost his spacecraft, though. And a more simple phone and heart rate and exercise with the camera launch capability right there. That's all. When I look, I don't go any further, and I have installed ClockSkin with third-party faces, and they are not supported. So big drawback, most Android 9 watches do have that. If that's not something special for you, then you can let go of it. Going further, this one does support the lock screen, and I warn you, do not forget your lock pattern or password or numbers or widgets or whatever, because generally there is absolutely no way to break into these short of reinstalling the firmware. You see how I'm just so habituated to slide to go back? I can't. You have to hit the back button. Almost all of the ones in here, to get out of them, you have to hit the back button, unless the app supports swiping out. I can do a breathe in, breathe out thing. It's got the heart sensor going. I can start it. It's not going to let me actually start till it gets a heart rate. Then it'll begin and blah, blah, blah. You'll get an actual heart rate change over time, and you'll be able to breathe in and breathe out with it. See, I was able to do it that time. Bloody oxygen. It's the bloody oxygen, guys, with a green diode, not red. Yeah, so this isn't really a sports watch because you don't have the GPS integration. It really isn't a health watch because you don't have the blood oxygen with the red sensor, which is higher accuracy. But it's got a nice camera. We're going to talk about that, and it's got definitely an amazing look to it. Okay, it's giving me a reading. That's all I can say at this point. Here's heart rate, same thing. And again, it's going to be the green diode, and you touch it or put it on your wrist and so forth, and you'll get a reading. Here's the sports. This is what we saw when we went over to this panel. Different icons, but it's the same things. Now, normally, as we know, when we're in this app, you have 3 dots at the top. First one is choose what you want to get into. Second one is your data, your recordings, if you've done any. And third one is to turn on GPS, and it's not here. Likewise, if you go into something like outdoor running, which is one that would trigger GPS, you get time, step count, notice step count, and calories burned, but no distance. So, yeah, folks, yeah, this is not something that you're going to be doing. There's no track record in here, and it hasn't even been fully translated. It still has Chinese. I try to be honest with you guys and not hype these things as something you've got to have. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, that's great. It's mostly to try to educate you. Here's your standard Google you go into and your Google Play Store, and then you got the music player, and we saw that. Nothing to write home about here. You can adjust the volume if you want to. That's nice. And it will be playing the music, I believe, on your watch, because there's supposed to be another folder where you would go in to play tethered music when you're tethered to your phone. And here's your playlist of music if you have it installed, and that's the music. Then you got Maps, Google Maps, and that's it. These are the ones I installed: Display Brightness, Organized Drawer, and Koi Pond that I wanted to show you. But before I do that, we have looked at every single app in here, the stock apps, and nowhere is the one that is supposed to take you into the QR code to tether it to the phone. And there's nothing for Find Your Phone. There's nothing for the music player. There's no remote camera. There's nothing in here for tethering activity. Yeah, because of that, I'm putting at the very end the startup process, because I'm pretty sure that's where you have to bind to the phone when you first turn it on after you've done a factory restore, because it's not able to connect afterwards. Yeah. Okay. You guys know what Display Brightness is, right? It's a special app, not in the App Store anymore. It allows me to put a little slide control over here. Oh, I just touched it and went into it. All right. These are the settings, and you can set the range and stuff like that, and then you come down here and activate it. By the way, press and hold. Notice that looks different. Change it to circle and square, and now you can see enable indicator is a little easier. I have it auto automatically launch when it reboots, start after shutdown, all of that stuff. Sort of works, but not really. And if you notice, there's not the settings anymore in this one that lets you make sure that it'll run in the background. Nonetheless, it's here, and this will just toggle it on and off. Remember, this is what takes it back if you can't slide out of it. Right over here now is that little slider, and so I can adjust the brightness accordingly. It's always fun to show you a couple of little apps that you may want to add. You can get to these at tinyurl.com/Android Watches. Android Watches. It's been so long since I've used it. All of these apps are in there to play with. Organized Drawer is a special thing that will just put all of your apps in alphabetical order and put them in a square or circle that gives you easy access. You could change the spacing and the number per row and all of that, and that's just a fun little app as well. Allow contacts, no, not right now. And no, I don't want them to make phone calls. And no, I'm going to deny all of that. And I'm going to remember to use the back button. And then Koi Free is just a free koi pond. It's kind of fun to look out. Press and hold, make it big, brighten it up, and splash the fish. Whee! Okay, those are the apps in here. Yes, I want to exit. Don't want to get the full version. Back out of it. And I'm full brightness now, so you can see how bright this whole thing is. I don't have the same level of control here anymore, notice. I have to control it from this one. It overrides everything. So your choice, however you want to play with your watch. Now comes the interesting part, system and camera, right? Okay, settings. Let's go in there. We've got network and internet. That's basically the same. You set up your Wi-Fi and you can have mobile network. Your data usage is shown. Airplane mode right there. Nothing new there really. Bluetooth setting up, pairing to your earbuds is here. If something's going to pair to this, you're looking for that name in the pairing process and it'll be visible. Your apps and notifications. It's using the Wear launcher. That's what it's called, I guess. That's the launcher that this thing is running on, which begs the question, will you be able to install a different launcher like Nova Launcher? I'm sure you can, but I'm not sure for sure because this is behaving differently than other Android watches. If somebody wants to do that, play with another launcher, recommend one, let us know in the show notes what you did and if it worked or not. These are the apps that I've done recently, and there's more of them. Screen time, notifications, advanced, all that's pretty much the same for that. Battery now shows you your battery level, apps that are running normally, it says, in your battery manager, power savings options, app standby optimizer. All right. These are interesting, and I think some of these may be different than what we've seen or other things we've seen that have been moved into here. We're not going to go that deep in a basic unboxing video, but just know that you could explore that area. You have very limited stuff in display. Just your overall brightness level, and you can change your sleep time from 15 seconds to 30 minutes. I'll do that and I won't keep going off on me. Sounds, likewise, you don't have a lot of controls here. If you're familiar with some of the other videos I've done, you've seen a lot more things that you have access to. Here's all your volumes, and you see they are all the way up. So when you heard the voice recorder, that's how loud it was, all the way up. You have Do Not Disturb, shortcut to prevent ringing, the different sounds that you've got. And then you got an advanced area where you could do the dial pad tones, screen locking sounds, charging sounds, touch, and touch vibration is turned on. But all these other sounds I've got turned off right now, so it doesn't make noise when it's charging, and the touching it doesn't make noise. But I don't see the startup sound, and oftentimes that's listed in here where you can turn on and off the startup sound. Either way, when we heard the startup, it was kind of lame. It was late, and it just went. Storage. We looked at that in a different way already. You can free up space. Storage Manager shows you your photos, videos, games, movies, TVs, others, and files, and so forth. System, it says, is taking up 5 gigabytes, 2 gigabytes in files. That's right, I got my folder with a whole bunch of third-party apps that I sideload onto this, so that's been installed too. So maybe you got more than just 6 gigabytes of overall space. You might have up to 8 if you are starting from scratch. Remind me when I do the reboot factory restore on this to start from the beginning to show you how you set it up, which I'm moving to the end of the video because not all of you want to watch that. Remind me to look and see how much space storage there is with nothing installed in the watch. Location services, this is different. Digital well-being. This is where you got your well-being tools and how long it's been on and dashboard and bedtime mode. I haven't seen that on here before, and it's something new. And interestingly enough, it does not respond to the circle square thing. So if you're something off the edge here that you can't hit, you're out of luck. So it looks like then I can't swipe out. It looks like it's just a oh, all right, I'll show the icon in the app list. We can get to it that way. It looks like it's a last-minute thought and hasn't been integrated well in the watch level. Google will go into my account and standard setup services and everything that you do when you do that on your phone. And then your overall system, your language and inputs. And I'm pretty sure on this one, we're okay when we get into it's got English. When we get into the keyboard, you can manage keyboards and you see the Google voice typing is turned on. We've had some versions of the OS where that's turned off. You bring up the keyboard, you don't have the microphone, you think it's broken or it's never going to be there. Do what I just did, come in here and make sure you turn Google voice typing on and you'll be all right. And then you've got physical keyboard and advanced input assistance, spell checkers, personal directory, text-to-speech output is available. Pretty sophisticated. And then finally, about the watch, which is going to bring up my IMEI number to begin with. You scroll down, you get your IP address stuff, advanced. But I don't get any firmware version here. I have to actually get out of here and go back in here to wireless update to see what version of the firmware we're running. And that's what we're on, so when you get yours, you'll know whether or not you've got a newer, an older, or the same one. You check once you're on Wi-Fi, it'll let you know there's no updates available, and then you know you're okay. And again, can't swipe out of that, but I can back out of that. Now, finally, guys, the camera. We're going to surprise the heck out of you here, I think. Where are we? We go back. There we go. Camera. There's a camera, and it's looking out horizontal, and I think it's upside down. So I'm going to rotate that. There we go. Yeah, that's looking outside. That's the table right over there, and that's my hand. And I had a vertical line that's like too much bright light or something is causing an anomaly there. I'm going to come over here and take a picture of my hand. There, kind of a delay on that, but it did it. And if I rotate this, that changes it to up, and I can flip the camera, and now it's looking up at me, and I'll take a picture of me. Oh, I hate doing this. It's reversed because I'm on the other side, so just to let you know. But I'm doing all this so that I can show you some things. Here's how you switch from video to picture mode. And we exit out of here and get back into the gallery. Now these are artifacts of watch faces from when I tried to install the clock skin and it didn't work. I'm going to bring up that picture, double tap. Oh my gosh, a good thing I shaved, huh? Oh, that's too close. Okay, but did you see how close it went? That's pretty amazing. That's because if you look at the details, it's a 3120 by 4160. Now, where is it? My calculator. I used to be able to do math by hand, but I've become spoiled. 3120 times 4160 equals 12,979,200 pixels, otherwise known as a 13 megapixel camera module. Guys, would you look at the specs at the beginning? It calls this a 5 megapixel camera. No, this is the same camera on the Prime 2, right? The Kospet Prime watch, the one that rotates. And it's the same kind of dimensions on here. And, you know, the other picture is going to be the same as well because it's the same camera module. If I double tap, I can zoom way the heck in here. There's my ring. That's the Aura ring, by the way. You know, the old version 2, and this is the new version 3. And coming up soon, when I get a chance, I'm going to compare the two because I'm collecting data on both of them every day. Anyway, yeah, it's giving me some pretty decent resolution. I do believe this is a 13 megapixel module in this camera. You're going to get the same exact details as before. If you put in third-party camera apps, you're going to be able to use those as well, interfacing with this camera and set the resolution up to 13 megapixels. So sweet that we've got a 13 megapixel camera going for us here. I like that. That's all of the apps, that's all of the watch faces, and that's the watch. So here it is on. I know we haven't showed you that yet. It is bulky. It is humongous. It's definitely a ruggedized watch. What's the one thing I didn't talk about yet? No, it's not the fact that there's no compass in here because it's not supported as far as I know. You could try a third-party compass, but if it doesn't have the sensor, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't, it's not going to work. Barometer, no barometer. Altitude, no. Temperature, no, not that either. What have I missed? Do you ever see a picture of this thing wet? Nah, me either. Did you check the specs for waterproofing? Yeah, me too. Not a mention. Not even lifetime waterproof or lifestyle or whatever they call it. There's no IP rating on this. Should I dunk it in water? Do you think it would survive? Do you want me to destroy the watch just to see? Maybe in a future video, but not today. I'm really concerned, like I am on the other watches, that the ribbon cable back here goes through a hole and water's going to just pour in here, and you could just have your vodka martini and drink it out of the top of your watch on the fly if you wanted. Whatever. I don't think it's waterproof, not even life waterproof, but it's ruggedized outdoor watch. You could go snowboarding with this one. Probably, but I don't know it's going to last if it gets wet. What to do. How about we lower the price for you? That might help out. I don't know. Remember, I showed you at the beginning, you can pick this puppy up from Banggood for about $185. Lowest price in 53 days, they're saying. If you want the 4 gigabyte configuration in green. Now, you could get it a little bit less if you're willing to go for it in black. I know I'm showing you the green picture, but black is selected 4 gigabytes. You could even go deeper. And the one I've showed you, I mentioned this, is the 2 gigabyte and 16 gigabyte storage. So you can pick it up at a considerably lower price in black or green for about $137 in flash deal. Don't know if I can get it lower, but I'll have a coupon if I can. Check the show notes for that, but for about $140, a little bit under, you could get this camera with the sensational camera, with this phone watch with the sensational camera on it, and all the other limitations that you're seeing. If you're still with me and want to keep watching, and you're still interested, I'm going to talk now about tethering to a phone, because that's a real problem. If you recall, when we went over here and we looked at all of the stock apps that are in here, there is no folder that is set up for tethering that includes the QR code for connection to your phone, along with all of the other things like Find Your Phone and remote camera and music player and all of that. These are all of the new apps that I had added in here. And yeah, nothing at all. So what we have to do is go back to the very beginning. I'm going to go down here to settings, I'm going to go all the way down to System. And in System, a couple of things I didn't cover is your date and time, that you can have automatic time zone and near time zone and 24-hour mode and all of that. And we looked at wireless update and reset options. We skipped that so we could look at it now. We want to go down here and do a complete factory restore, and that means, or reset they call it, that means erasing all of the data on the watch, everything that's in there, by hitting reset phone. It really wants to make sure you want to do this. Everything's going to be wiped out. We erase everything, and here it goes. It's going to take a while. It's got to reboot itself, restore itself, and then come back up. I'll be right back. Wow, okay, that took about 5 minutes or so, but we are completely restored. This is what you'll get when you open the box. And it's different. Look at there. Hi there. You get to choose your language right off of the bat. English or any of these other languages. We'll show them now so that you have a chance to see if the one that you're interested in is on this watch. Quite a few. No idea. These are whole languages, not just scribbles on the screen. It's amazing. So little we each individually know and so much collectively. We're going to go with English. I have emergency call with no SIM card in it. It can do an emergency call like your phone if it doesn't have a SIM. Or vision settings, which you can do from within the app. I'm not going to waste your time on that. That's just setting up different things and how it appears. Connect to mobile network. If you have a SIM card, insert it now. This is when you would do that. And guess what, folks? I don't have buttons to press. So you have to know that you'll get stuck at this point, and the way out of it is to press and hold and switch to a square. That's the only way you're going to see the skip thing. And, of course, it wants you to connect to a mobile network and put in a SIM, so you would have to turn the phone off to do that anyway. Yeah, nobody tested this after they put the firmware in it. We're going to skip this step because we're not doing that. It's going to now try to connect to Wi-Fi. And, of course, it doesn't have Wi-Fi because we haven't set it up yet. So we're going to skip that as well. Skip the network connections. Yeah, you can't do any of these things without a connection, but I can't make a connection unless I can get to Wi-Fi to put in my password, which I can't get to unless I get the phone, the watch booted all the way up. Continue, just a second. Date and time. Well, it's picking Eastern time zone. Oh, I touched it. Eastern Daylight Time. We'll just accept that for now. Google services, it's going to want you to do Google and location services and all these other things related to Google, which were not on Wi-Fi, so you're not going to actually do much anyway. Oops. Sorry, what happened there? Back out of that. Set screen lock. Oh, I'm glad I'm not doing that. Let's back out of that. So if you touch it too fast, you get into a problem. Definitely don't want to set a screen lock. If you do and you forget it, I mentioned this already, but it bears repeating, you're going to be stuck. You won't be able to get into your watch whatsoever. Skip anyway. Yes, I definitely want to skip it at this point. It's going through all of its setup stuff, and there we are at our opening watch face. With no QR code to get into connecting to an app in the phone. I did mention at the very beginning that if I go down here to File Explorer, I can show you that you actually have over 9 gigabytes, 9 2/3 gigabytes available out of your 16 gigabytes. So a lot more than I thought initially, but I had loaded up some apps and things in there. We can go into the rest of them, and there's nothing to support connecting to a tethering app on the phone. So the only resort that I've got at this point, even in settings, I could do Wi-Fi, connected device, Bluetooth, battery, display, location, system, all of that stuff. We can come down here, make sure that Bluetooth is turned on, Wi-Fi is on but not connected yet. I can come over to my phone. These Android watches are all using the GoWFit app now from the Google Play Store. Here it is. I say open, got it already set up, add a device, and look, it wants a QR code. But hey, I have no way of bringing up a QR code on the watch. So none of your fitness activity, none of your heart rate activity, backing up or doing anything with your calls, none of that's available unless we can get this to tether, and there's no tethering capability in it. So I leave it with that. The watch is a standalone watch phone that uses SIM cards for calling, and whatever data you collect or things you do on it will stay on it, as there's no easy way to connect it directly to a phone with a tethering app.